Hoosier Trapper Outdoors is brought to you by Hoosier Trapper Supply, Leatherwood Creek Trapping Scents, HTS Productions, Hoosier Trapper Deer Scents, and Leatherwood Wildlife Art.
All right, for the next 3 episodes, basically, we're going to run the trap line that most of us run, when we're working a job and we're trying to trap and take care of family obligations and life obligations. So this is going to be a before work trap line, and I think most of us can relate to that. So that's what we're going to do for the next 3 shows, and kind of see how things go. We're not going to do a day-by-day diary, but we will let you know, on day 4 we caught this, or day 5 we caught this, or day 6 we didn't catch anything, or day 2 we didn't catch anything. So we'll kind of keep that that chronological order in place, but we're not going to be able to run a lot of traps. We've got limited time, and that's kind of our plan for the next few shows. And of course, we'll maintain our product highlights, trapline tips, which a lot of those will be actually on the line, and then we'll do some fur handling too. So hope you enjoy the next few shows. All right, we actually offer a number of packages, lure and bait packages for various animals. We've got some that are quite large and some that are small. We call them sampler packages. These are our 2 predator sampler packages. Would work on both fox and coyote, and it would catch cats too if they came by. Anyways, our predator sampler package number 1. Of course, it's got our top dog bait, a pint of urine. And then it also has our black gold lure, coyote carnage, and also vixen elixir. So, that basically give you change up lures, the bait, and the urine. Our sampler 2 predator, it's got the same top dog bait and same coyote urine. In addition to this one has vixen elixir, it also has coyote gland lure. And then it also has our long distance, which has some skunk in it for either colder weather trapping, or you can use this maybe 10 foot from your set up high, and that kind of gets them in the area as a long distance. If you're cat trapping, skunk's always a good choice. So skunks are bobcats are definitely attracted to the smell of skunk, so that's a good addition for that. So anyways, you might check our catalog out or our website out. We have, like I said, we have all the packages listed in both the catalog and the website. And there are a number of them to choose from. But if you just want some entry-level stuff to give our stuff a try, we do have these sampler packages. They save a little money. They're $29.95 per package. And I think you save about $5. So anyways, good value and good selection.
Okay, we've got this one location here. It's kind of a natural travel way, and from past history, I know that it is. Caught coyotes here before, and fox. Basically, right below this hill here, we're up on a bit of a rise, is a creek, and those are always path of travels for coyotes and fox or whatever. So we've got this bean field, and it was actually just picked 2 days ago, and that's kind of actually delayed us this year. Is that it's such a late fall for the farmers that we've had to wait for them to get their crops up before we could even get some traps set. So within 30 yards here, I've made 3 sets. And although it's not completely necessary to do a change up on the type of set, kind of did 3 different setups here just to kind of have some variety to show you. This first one here is just a standard dirt hole, bit of a step down, not level with the grade of the ground. We did use peat moss in all 3 of these because it's pretty cold for this time of year, and it's going to get cold at night down in the 20s. So kind of got a standard dirt hole going here, and then for some got top dog bait, Vixen elixir for the lure, and some coyote urine. And what I did on this one is I did some additional disturbance, scratchings, whatever you want to call it, over here to the right side. So when they're walking along here, I mean, everything in terms of the ground looks pretty similar. So we did something kind of to make this one stand out a little bit with this additional disturbance here, which definitely has good visual attraction to it. So then we'll walk up here to the next set. Like I said, they're all within about 30 yards of each other. This set here, by this rock, field rock here, kind of a somewhat blended flat set. Here again, we did use peat moss, kind of blended it in with the surroundings. One thing I'll say, when you got these cottonwood and sycamore leaves, which are really big leaves, you want to try to get those out of the way somewhat if it gets windy or whatever and it gets on your set. Those will definitely foul a trap up, and they're somewhat slick, so if they get in there and the trap fires, you know, the animal can actually, it just gives some additional area or surface that is slick, and the animal can pull its foot out. So you want to try to avoid those getting in your trap bed location. You don't have complete control over that because it's not going to rake up this whole area, but anyways, try to get those somewhat out of the way. So anyways, we've got somewhat of a blended flat set here, fox and coyote. Used urine, and then we used some coyote gland lure on here. But you know, a lot of people talk about gland lure for coyotes and gland lure for fox, and one repelling the other, and you know, particularly the fox being concerned or nervous with the gland lure on the coyotes. And the same with urine, and we've really found that just isn't the case. So you can catch foxes with this coyote gland lure. So anyway, so we have this blended set here, somewhat blended, not crazy, but somewhat blended. And then this set here, kind of more up on the edge, good visual to it, standard dirt hole, somewhat of a step down. If you go with the step down, to me it automatically guides the coyote or fox to the trap location. It's just kind of got the natural blocking to it, which is going to funnel him to where the set is. If you make it more flat, which is fine, sometimes it's a little more open and it may be a little harder to guide the coyote in there. Coyotes particularly don't like to be fenced in so much, so this set's kind of got the advantage of them not being particularly hemmed in or feel like they're blocked or caged in. So we've got good visual here. One thing, we've got this incredible thicket here, and you know, there isn't a predator on the planet that's not going to hunt birds, mice, chipmunks, squirrels, whatever in this thicket. So the only disadvantage to this is that every possum and coon or whatever is going to live in here too. So we're going to have to put up with catching that stuff. And particularly when you get this close to the edge, it increases your chances even more. But you know, with this corner here in the creek, it's just going to be a matter of fact. We're just going to have to deal with that kind of stuff. So anyways, that's what we got going on. Kind of 3 different types of sets to speak of, but primarily 2 dirt holes and 1 flat set. So we'll kind of see what happens. You know, clearly we've got, if we catch a possum or raccoon, we've got 1 or 2 sets working, you know, and for the coyote that may come by or the fox that may come by. And then you know, when things line up perfect, and you know, we get a double or even a triple on the coyote. coyotes, which would be pretty awesome. So anyways, that's what we've got going on here. Like I said, we've been delayed this fall because of the crops being out. Of course, been busy at the shop, but just trying to get a line going, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, for this product highlight, we're going to show the fleshy knives that we carry. We carry just the basic fleshy knife. They're like $17.95. It's a pretty nice knife. It's basically, though, it just has a scraping or fleshing edge. It does not have a cutting edge. There's a dull back edge. So if you have this knife, you're probably ultimately going to want something that's got a cutting edge on the back side. What some people do is they'll buy 2 of these, and it's still cheaper than buying one of the ones that are more expensive, and then they'll take one and sharpen it up. You'll find that you'll need the sharp edge for the backs of raccoon necks or beavers or whatever, something that requires a sharp edge that you can shave with. So anyways, that's just kind of our basic fleshy knife there. Like I said, ultimately if you have this, you're probably going to want to upgrade to another one. The next one that we have, which is the most popular by far, is the Necker fleshy knife. It's stainless steel. And the lower edge is the fleshing or scraping edge, and then the top edge is sharp, and that's your shaving edge. So you're actually going to go like this for like I said, for the backs of raccoon necks or beaver skins. So anyways, it's a nice knife, and typically, unless you just do a lot of fur, you get this knife and it'll last you for the rest of your trapping days. So anyways, very nice knife. A little more money, $69. So but anyways, very nice knife. And then we also carry the Sheffield J. Adams Sheffield fleshy knives. Are made in Sheffield, England, and this is a nice knife. Probably most people don't need something like this, but if you find that you're doing a lot of beaver skins, otters, that kind of thing, that you're gonna want this knife. It's big. It'll give you a lot of leverage. Here again, it's got a scraping edge, and then the cutting edge here. We do a lot of big skins here too, buffalo and steer hides and that kind of thing. So this is what we use for that also. This knife comes in with the fleshing or scraping edge pretty sharp, and it's too sharp as just your actual fleshing or scraping edge. So we actually take that and dull it down, but that's initially. But anyways, a very nice knife. I've got one now that I've had for almost 40 years, and it's still going strong. The handle's split, but I just taped it up, and it's still going. But here again, really nice knife. We actually have sold some of these in the past to a fellow that scraped buffalo hides all winter long, and he did actually wear them out. But he was doing that daily and going through a lot of big, heavy skins. But anyways, an excellent knife. So that's kind of what's available. There's other knives out there, but they all basically are the same thing. There's some variations, but just you've got your entry level, your Necker fleshy knife, and then this high-end Sheffield knife. All right, we're gonna go through kind of coyote handling, hands-on coyote handling. The first thing you do when you get a coyote is you want to make sure you get it combed out, make sure you get the burrs and everything out. And the reason for that is when you go to flesh it, which typically they don't require a lot of fleshing, is that anything that you hit that's hard is going to cause a hole. So anyways, get it cleaned up first, get the cockleburrs out. If you got cockleburrs, throw them on the floor so you don't roll the thing back in them. All right, we got it cleaned up, burrs and everything out. Pretty important. The initial cut line is right on this color difference here. There's an actual, just natural line. I kind of started this here, but we're using the 3 3/4 inch Dexter knife. These are my favorite. They're reasonable, and they stay sharp for a while, and they're easy to maintain. So we're just going to cut this up right along the vent, up the tail. Same thing on the other side. Okay, one thing to me, I think it works better. It saves your knife. It doesn't dull your knife near as quickly as if you go around like this. It dulls your knife because you're cutting on top of fur. If you grab that edge and just kind of skin like that, same on the other side, and then you just take your fingers and pull that skin like that. Then you can actually just poke your knife through there and just cut. And that way you're cutting on skin instead of wringing those legs, which, you know, lots of people do that. But it'll just help save your knife. And it actually, once you get accustomed to it, it's more efficient and it goes quicker that way. So I'm gonna do that on this side too. Coyotes don't pull very well. For those of you that have done them, you're well aware of that. They're a tough animal to skin. If you've got the advantage of skinning them when they're warm, you'll go through it much more quickly. If you kind of take your time and clean this edge a little bit, it'll keep that meat off of there. But I wouldn't get too carried away with detailed time on this kind of stuff, because I usually flesh that stuff off later very easily, much quicker than spending a bunch of time trying to clean skin these things. So this coyote's been sitting for a day, a little more limp than it would be, 3 hours after it was caught, but ideally, a minute after it was caught. If you can have the advantage of skinning them then you're better off. So all right, at this point we'll get it hung up. Go ahead and skin down the tail a little bit. At this point, we're going to hang it up and work on it. Hang it up. I think it's easier to open them up at this point and then hang them than it is to open them up while the coyote's actually hung. Okay, get the tail started, and you've actually got obviously a couple inches of bone shown here. Coyote tails are one of the tougher tails to actually pull, but they sure pull a lot easier than they do skin. You just use just a basic tail stripper, put it on there, put it on, and then just kind of put your weight on it, kind of go with a steady pressure, and that bone will just pull right out of there. As far as what's here in the in the crotch area, basically you can just kind of skin that up. And then that's good enough right there. Do not cut a window out like you would on a coon or something. Just gradually work this thing down. All right, kind of work this thing down. If you make a little slit on the front legs like this, it can be a little bit easier once you get here. This is one of the areas that, when you're skinning coyotes, all of us kind of struggle with this front leg area. So we want to just gradually work this thing down. Don't worry about the meat. Don't stress out about that. And it is easy, as I just did, to nick a hole in these things at this point. So. You can do these front legs a couple different ways. You can just kind of work it down like this. Keep a track of where your skin edge is so you don't cut a hole. That's the first coyote of the season. I haven't skinned one for several months. Just working on down. Now, you can
work your fingers in there like this. Which takes a little bit of muscle. Get your fingers worked through there. And then you can, once you're through, you can just kind of skin this down like this. Here again, other than that little slit, we didn't ring the legs to begin with. Like I said, you just don't need to do that. Now you could take like a garden trimming tool, like a lopper, and actually just cut these legs off at this point right here, and then you would be done too. So that works very well. One thing we do have our Show Me the Money professional fur handling DVD that we did. It's almost 5 hours long, pretty in-depth fur handling. So you might consider that if you're looking for something more in-depth in terms of instruction. Okay, so you can do that. Like I said, if you cut that leg off, then you have to deal with that. So that's kind of a handy way to do that. We're going to trim this up later. Or you can just kind of work this down. Clear this up a little bit. And then you can take this piece, you can take just a simple trap stake, piece of rebar, work it in there. And then pull it like that. I think that's easier than trying to work your fingers in there. Then go ahead and skin it down. This feels like the first coyote I've skinned in a few months. Okay, and then just cut on top the skin here. All right, almost there. Do the head. If you look into the head, you come straight down the shoulders, and coyotes have got big ears. So the first thing you're going to come to is the ear cartilage, and that's right here on either side of the head. It's right here. Same here. Cut those free. You can actually put your fingers in the ears and help use that to pull the skin down. And then right in front of the ears, eyes. Keep your knife close to the skull, like that. And then actually just right below the eye is the mouth. If you just take your knife and kind of dig in like that, and you can always feel it with your hands if you're not sure exactly where it's at. Pull this down. For those of you that live out in the western states, you're probably thinking, is that a coyote or is that just some sort of rusty looking dog? This is an eastern coyote, folks. We got to deal with them. So that's why our coyotes are vary in price from anywhere from $2 or $3 clear up to 60 or 70, because we just can't seem to get a consistent quality here where we're all mixed up. So anyways, okay, just going to work your way down. You're going to come to the nose and just cut the cartilage. And then for the fur market, we do not need the lower lip. You can just cut that off and just leave it on the carcass. We don't need it. So at this point, it's ready to flesh. All right, I'm gonna flesh this coyote up. As you saw, we already cleaned up the fur, so there's no burrs or hair, or burrs or clumps of mud or anything in the fur. We're just using a basic neck or fleshy knife. You could use just the basic, inexpensive fleshy knives for this as well. This is an early season coyote, so it doesn't have much fat on it, and there's not going to be really much to flesh off. The only thing that we're really going to flesh off is mostly the meat that we just left on when we were rough skinning it out. So that's pretty much it. As you notice, there's several of us here that use this stuff, and this apron's marked outside, so we know which side to put on up against us. So, anyways, so we're just going to basically get this meat off of here. As long as you keep your knife going straight and you don't glance off the side, it'll take basically all the pressure that you can give it. So that's basically it. A bit right there. Flip it over, and I always start on the side because that's actually like I see, you can remove it quicker than you can try to clean skin it. So to me, it's just better just get it skinned, get rough skinned, and get it off, get it taken care of, and then kind of do your final clean up, touch up when you're on the beam. That's basically it. One thing that there seems to be, we get a commonly asked question is, what about this red membrane here? That can stay on there. There's no problem with that at all. As long as there's not fat below that membrane, leave it on there. It hurts nothing at all. It'll come off in the tanning process. But now if there were a significant amount of fat below that membrane, then it definitely needs to come off. So do a little cleanup here. And that's basically it. Make sure you open the tail up. Otherwise it will spoil. Just like that. Now, there's a lot of the auction companies kind of prefer things to be on wood. If you do a nice job with wire stretchers, they are very functional. They work just fine. The reason we're more prone to use the wire stretcher on a coyote is just because of our coyotes here in the east vary in size. They're all over the place. So we can have typically 25 to 28 pound coyotes, and then we get up to the 40 pound plus coyotes. Just a little side note to that, those 40 plus pound coyotes are the ones that people think weigh 60 or 70. So and that is a big coyote. So we use the wire stretchers. It gives us more flexibility in terms of size of coyotes. Make sure your stretchers are no rust free, clean of rust, because that will stain the fur. That's one of the issues too with the wooden stretchers, and you have to be concerned about that. Grab your stretcher, stick it in there, put the nose up on the top, make sure the skin's straight on the stretcher. Pull it down, and you don't have to pull it snug, just pull it down. Hook your hook in like that. Go down the tail a little bit, and that'll kind of hold that tail open. Flip it over. The other hook. This hook's seen better days. The other hook goes in the back legs, just like that. Some of the areas that can be an issue this time of year are we use some borax around them. Just 20 mil tin borax you buy it at the grocery store. Just put that around the ears. You can cut those ears off if you want to. It's really not a big deal. You can remove the cartilage if you want to. Typically, we just leave the ears on, but you do need to kind of keep on them so that they don't spoil. Around the front legs where there might possibly be some skin against skin, it's not a bad idea to put some more borax there. Now we're just going to let this thing dry, and then we're going to turn it first side out, put it back on the stretcher. You do not want it to let it get away from you in terms of getting too dry, or it's really, really difficult to turn, and then you may tear it. So we'll let it dry for a few hours, and then we'll actually turn it first side out.
All right, the coyote that we did yesterday, Sean got it actually turned this morning. One thing about these coyotes is you don't want them to get away from you. You want to turn them while they're still somewhat damp. Otherwise, it'll be really difficult to turn them. If you ever do get in this case where it gets away from you and they get too dry, you can wrap them in some damp towels and let them soak up a little bit, and then you can get them turned. If they get too hard, if they get too dry, then you stand a really good chance of tearing them or ripping them when you want to turn them. So anyways, it's turned straight on the stretcher. You can pull the ears up like this to make them look nice. You can cut these ears off if you want to. If you're having problems getting them dry, you can remove the cartilage too, but we like leaving them on because I think they look cool with them on there. Anyways, not important, so you can cut them off. One thing too, it's not a bad idea, particularly if you turn them when they're fairly wet, which is a good idea. And this is a good idea anyways. Take a little main cord and run it up here. That'll give you some airflow to get up there to get that thing completely dry. If you've got warm, humid weather, then that will help eliminate chances of spoilage, mold, that kind of thing. So that'll give you some airspace. And that's basically it. So just got to let it dry the rest of the way. The last thing to dry on these will be the ears. So that's kind of that, goes back to that issue of just cutting them off and then you don't have to worry about it. But if you do put some borax around the bottoms, then you're good to go. So anyways, just at this point, you can dry the rest of the way. All right, this is one of our larger projects here at that we did with taxidermy. Remember, we do have our Hoosier Trapper Supply catalog, everything that you need for trapping, fur handling, has our line of deer hunting scent in it, and also our Leatherwood Creek trapping scents. To get one, just give us a call at 317-881-3075 or visit us online at HoosierTrapperSupply.com. You can request one through the site or you can actually print your own. Remember, our next show will be on November 28th. You can join us then.